Hey, welcome back to the Wendy Plus David podcast, where we share the secrets with you how to upgrade how you operate. I'm your host, Wendy J, and today we are excited to share the insights of how you can make your home video office, your YouTube studio, your live stream background pop with interior design. Now, all of us have done the crazy cheap quick fixes on Amazon and on eBay. We've ordered those crazy pop-up screens to make us look better. And we've also done the research out there on YouTube and Pinterest, but still, the background of our quality is still lacking those elements of high quality production, which is what you and your business really deserve. So today we want to share with you how we created 2 home video YouTube studios with a video background expert in interior design, born and raised in Little Rock, Arkansas. She received a design degree from the University of Central Arkansas. After college, worked for a luxury residential designer named Toby Fairley. Following her passion for interior design, she went on to work for residential and commercial spaces and later moved to Boise, Idaho. She has worked as a design consultant for Ethan Allen and as an e-consultant at Laurel and Wolf. With her love of personal interaction, she's also staging coordinator with Templeton Real Estate Group. With her heart to assist her local clientele, she has started her own business called K. Atwood Design. Her company continues to do one-of-a-kind projects. We are so excited and so honored to be blessed. And let us welcome Miss Katrina Atwood.
Hey guys, how is everybody?
Hey, thank you for being here with us. We really appreciate it because
of course.
We want to share the insights with our audience, how the heck we did all this, right? 2 YouTube studios, 2 YouTube studio backgrounds, and everyone's like, how do you guys do this? What was the process? And we want to start with, tell us a little bit about your passion, yourself, your design life.
Okay, so my mom encouraged me to go into design education or look further into it because I was getting really bored with my business degree. And so I just went full throttle, 16 hours with design classes, and then I graduated shortly after that. So since then, as you said, I've done a lot of work, been with a lot of different design companies. I have a passion also just for helping people and helping their homes look good as well as their businesses achieve great success. And so put that together, and that's here.
It's like a win-win.
Yeah.
One of the things we learned about Katrina was she has a little bit different than just an interior designer. She really looks at your space through a camera lens, and that's important because especially these days when we're all online, we're all on camera, and it's so important to have that space, that depth, that coordination, that quality background that we're all looking for the audience that we're either teaching or in meetings with or live streaming from, for it all to kind of pull together. So we're going to talk to you about what the experience was to work with us and putting these design rooms together.
Yeah, so our first step, Wendy contacted me for my design services, and I was a little unsure because this was my first design set to work on. But I just went forward with the same design formula that I use for all of my projects. And so we came to the studio. I wanted to see it in person. I wanted to get my measurements. I wanted to take pictures of what the studio set looked like as is, without anything. And then I also wanted to know the camera angles, what they are currently looking like, what their brand is. Wendy sent me all of her colors for the brand, which really helped narrow us into the right direction on what to pick, and instead of just branching off in all different directions with colors, it gave us the avenue to pick all of the elements and things. So
yeah, one of the things that I thought was really bold is you love working with Katrina when she proposes a gigantic piece of wallpaper that's bright yellow, that's palm trees that went with our brand. And we all looked at it and we were like, well, that's pretty awesome, but are we really going to go for that? It was an experience, but it definitely worked out. It's something we absolutely love.
Yeah, you did go for it. And it was bold, but it pops and it looks beautiful. And I think that set is a very great success.
Yeah, that for sure. And then we have another room too that we did for a background, because we end up taking 2 rooms and we did 2 different backgrounds where the desk's in the middle of the room and you've got 2 different backgrounds behind. The one like we're shooting on now, and then there's another one behind you all that you don't see that's another set. So tell us about maybe even that set, because we had some little challenges with the wall that kind of caved in a little bit.
Right. That wall has a recessed portion and there's floating shelves, and we wanted to add something behind the floating shelves to just give it more contrast and dimension. So we put a vertical wallpaper. The pattern runs vertical.
Yeah.
So it doesn't look so short and squatty. It just gives another pattern to this space without it being dominant. And then we also added color to the shelves, plants. And then not only that, we also needed to think about what's below. So we added a bench with colorful pillows, a large piece of artwork on the left side, and then a fun wood surfboard on the right side.
Yep. Yeah, that was really came together really well.
Yeah, it looks great.
And that particular background, something to think about, depending on if you have a standing desk and you're standing or sitting, it allows you to do both set designs. Because if you're standing, your background's going to look a little bit different. And if you're sitting, it's going to be a little bit different. So you want to make sure, and what we were working with Katrina on was making sure we had all the elements that kind of tied together both standing and sitting.
Right. So when, for instance, this set design right behind us, we wanted to see if we're sitting in the chairs, what it's going to look like. If we move a little, if Wendy wants to stand, the camera also, everything looks good from all angles. So
yep.
That was key.
Yeah, that was key.
It was wall-to-wall design.
And the cool thing about this set design that you all can't see, but Katrina has a great eye for just getting in the space. So tell us about those, like the lamp that we end up doing and those drop-down shelves with the wood.
Yes. So we wanted something that just wasn't, Wendy here and then the artwork and like a table. We wanted to drop the ceiling down so it gives some more visual just around you. So we added these shelves that float from the ceiling.
Love those.
And then on them they have little globe lights with plants and the floral, and it really looks cool.
Yeah. It does
and
really
then
cool.
There's a plant underneath and some pillows, and then we also added this sign over here.
Yep.
For Happy Aloha Friday, just for an extra brand statement.
Yep. Yeah. And on this other wall we did was the big giant wallpaper.
Yes, love it.
The big giant wallpaper.
Probably my favorite.
And we added like the pendant woven light.
Mm-hmm. So again, we wanted to drop something from the ceiling, so it's not just so everything's on the floor,
right,
and on the wall. So we dropped down the pendant light,
yep.
And it's woven, so it adds more texture. And it kind of warms up the area too. And then we added a fuchsia bar stool.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
And
I love that.
for that little pop of color. So Wendy could sit on it, or she could just stand next to it and it gives you extra color. And then there's also a tree just for some green. Plants always add a lot to a space because live or faux, they look great, they're fresh, and it
looks awesome.
Yeah, it looks great.
And so the other studio that we did, tell us about that. That background was totally different. We had a smaller room. We're only working really on one side, but the way the camera was in there was just a webcam, and you can see a little bit wide on the webcam, so we really need to make sure the corners were definitely set up enough and to make the room feel larger.
Right. So the main big piece in that room that's directly behind Wendy is a bookcase, and so of course we wanted to add like books and things that would be appropriate, but also just some color and some pops of plants and some framed elements. So we also added a chair next to the bookcase to add more color and softness, and it's a bright yellow. It's really pretty. And also above that, well, when we got the chair, we kept looking at it and it's like something's missing. So we needed more on the walls, and so we added art above this chair, and then we also added a large tree on the other side, and it looks
It looks awesome.
finished.
Yeah,
now.
it looks finished. And then Katrina had a great idea, because the room is smaller, to hang up 2 large mirrors on the wall to give it a more open vibe.
Yes, and that also, if you want mirrors to reflect light, you may not, but it opens up any space. And then I also like to add bigger pieces in smaller spaces. If you have too many small things, it looks really busy and it's kind of chaotic visually.
Yep.
So by adding large elements, it kind of helps calm the eye, so that way the smaller pieces aren't overwhelming.
I love that. I love that. Now, what was anything a challenge that we worked through?
I would say when we came to install the wallpaper, I was so nervous about it because it wasn't permanent. It was a pill and stick, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, and it was a special order.
Yep.
But it looks great, and we just rolled it out and we put it up there, and then and I left it up to you to put the other wallpaper behind the floating shelves.
No, that was really good. We'll show you some photos of how the wallpaper went together, because we actually did a temporary behind it, so we didn't just peel and stick upright on the wall itself. We actually did a temporary in between there, so you'll love it. You guys will love it for that. Anything else you can share with our audience about what made it easy for you?
Knowing your brand image and just the colors of the brand, like right off the bat, was so important, because it helped, again, give us the direction we needed to go. And also, Wendy shared her videos with me, what their current, or at the time, what your current videos were looking like. And we kept talking about just what is it that we want to achieve. So just knowing all of that up front is good. Also, knowing if your studio space is, if you own it or if you are renting it, I think that also helps the designer select what's the best pieces to go in. Because if we have to drill something in the wall and you don't have the paint to like patch and paint later when you move out, that kind of has a big determinant of like what we need to put in there. And also like wallpaper, and if it's permanent or adhesive.
And I'll say, if you guys are renting, it's okay. You can still do an interior design. There are ways to work around. There for sure ways. So don't feel stopped like, hey, I'm renting my space, and so I feel like I can't make this happen. Yes, you can. There are ways that we crushed it with a lot of things that we didn't even know we could do, I think. Yeah. And it made it very easy and simple. So.
And I mean, 3M strips, I don't think we use those, but those are a really good way to hang art if you're scared about like, putting holes in the walls or something like that. Yep. But that design looks really good. I can't wait for everybody to see it.
Yeah, I can't wait for you guys to see it. I'm sure you're seeing it right now.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to move on to my next questions. I have, what are the top 3 things that someone building a home YouTube studio, or even an office studio, or their live stream background that they're working on should consider from that interior design perspective?
Okay, so I would say the first important thing, or the most important, would be, what is it that you want to achieve? Is it that you want to look more professional, more put together with your company? Tell me what it is that you want to achieve. And then also, as I've said before, knowing the brand colors, even the logo, everything, more information that you can give your designer, the better. Like your YouTube channel, Instagram, any of the social media platforms that you've posted videos or promoted your business, any marketing to help your designer know what direction they need to go in to help with the set design is important.
That definitely helps with the packaging of how you are coming across through the lens, and who your audience is, and in your meetings, or who you're live streaming to, is having that overall package look with your color and vibe. That's really, really helpful.
Yes.
Okay, what's number 2?
I guess that was
number 2. Okay, number 3.
Number 3 would, I did state it earlier, would be renting or owning.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But like we said, if you rent, there are so many things that you can do that it's just that extra step at the end if you have to move studio spaces that you just need to repair. So just keep that in mind if you do transfer.
Okay.
Later.
Yeah, that's important. You need to know if you are renting, don't feel afraid to not go ahead and do something. And if you own, hey, it's open book, right? You've got options beyond. So move the whole wall, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I would say another important element is letting your designer see from the camera perspective what they are looking at. We have to know that, or else it's like, oh, it's just, 5x8 space or whatever. We need to see like what the color of the walls are, what kind of lighting you're using. And also if there's any darker spaces on the wall, we need to light it up with like the fairy lights or like the glow balls or something like that. So
that has that extra pop. Yeah, for sure. Now, for our experience working with Katrina, I didn't tell you guys, but it was really, really great. It was so great for us to propose ideas, send links. She sends back emails with links. And then we had choices. I mean, there were visual choices for us to, 2 or 3 things. Okay, we like this over this. We like this over this. We would try things. Okay, maybe that didn't work. But it was really easy to work with you. And I loved it. Dave loved it. It was just so easy to try to pick through what we wanted on the budget that we were sticking to make it happen. And yeah, it's coming together really fabulous.
Yes. And I think part of my design steps after the consultation and, we've talked about color and the brand image, I work in design phases. So like the biggest piece is what I propose first. That's our grounding element.
Yes.
And then seating, like chairs, if we're going to have those. And then we start going into phase 2. And so each phase has multiple options for that one piece, like this artwork behind us. I proposed 2 or 3 options, and we went with this one. It was the best.
Yep.
And then after that, phase 2 will be the shelves or extra art. Phase 3's plants, added flowers, that sort of thing.
Everything that actually adds that extra pop.
So that way it's also not overwhelming all at first, seeing like everything together.
Right.
Because you're like, I don't know what direction this is going.
Much.
And so, yeah, and I put together a visual of what it's going to look like from the camera perspective in a sense. And then once it gets installed, Wendy did take pictures and video, which was also helpful, of, again, just like what it's looking like now, does this look okay, or do we need to add more pieces?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really important. As you're working through design with your designer, always take some steps. Test your video. Hey, this is what it looks like on camera right now. This is what my lighting looks like. That's so important because there might be a change in the design that you didn't know about that you will have to consider once you see it on camera and things start coming to life, a little bit.
Yeah.
It's important. All right, so cool. We are moving along. Now, I want to share with you all the top 3 things to consider from the video production perspective, because now we have the interior design perspective, but what's the top 3 things we could be thinking about for video production? And that's really important. Let's start with number 1, which is your camera. What camera are you using? Is it a camera that is just a webcam or a laptop cam, or is it a DSLR camera? I don't know what your studio is going to look like, but having the camera and knowing which camera and you're using is going to help you and the designer learn what the background's actually going to show. Because if you need a blurred background, you're probably using a DSLR camera. But if you are just very simple, it needs to be clean, fine, and you're just doing like a live stream, no problem. Okay, you might be doing like a wide webcam, not a problem. As long as the designer can see that view, they can help you position the pieces that are going to make the room come together, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that would be number 1. Number 2, I highly recommend thinking about where you're positioning yourself in the room. Because don't just mash up your desk into the corner and like, that's my background. What we've learned from a psychology standpoint is the people that are watching you on camera really need that depth for them to believe in you and what you're talking about. The more depth you have, the more open that person's mind is to think about what you're sharing with them. Mm-hmm. If it's just you and the straight wall behind you, there's a more closed thought process just watching someone. But if you start adding some depth, we got creative, bought a standing desk, stuck it in the middle of the room because we wanted 2 different set designs, and we have a larger studio room to do that. You may not. You may only have 1 room. So you might want to position your desk maybe at the far end of one of the rooms so the background becomes that depth of that room, right?
Yes.
It really makes a huge difference, and especially for your audience, you guys, if you don't know that. Or if you're saying, hey, I just work from my kitchen table, no problem. Maybe get a little desk that you can move away from the kitchen table, or a rolling desk out of the room so it gives you that depth behind you. Not a problem. We just want to create as much depth as possible for the interior design, for the design that's going to really pop, because that makes a huge difference to the audience that's watching you. The last one I'm going to share with you, it kind of goes together, but it's 2 things. So it is number 3, but I'm going to say lighting and sound. Got to make sure you have the right lights for your face. Not so that it's so bright that it's washing your face out. We want to make sure the lighting is set so you look great, and if you're traveling, working remote, you have lights to take with you, including sound. Now, we're not talking about lav mics unless you're actually doing YouTube or you're doing live stream work. Okay, great. But what about a podcast mic? That might be just as great for you. And it doesn't have to be on a boom arm. It can just be on a little stand right in front of you on your laptop, on your desktop. Think simple, not overkill. You all don't need to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on set, but these little tiny tweaks will really help you make an impression with whoever you're meeting online in your business. Because, right, we're all working on our online presence here, whether, again, through meetings or your YouTube studio or your live streams, whatever that is. All these little qualities matter. So, do you have any extra things to share? Because we've talked about a lot here.
We have. I would say if you're thinking, you know, how this sounds just like how much is it and all of that, price is also a big question, of course. You know, it's a business expense. It does, to me, it's like selling your car or a home. If you add value and, you know, really want to further your business, you should invest in getting a designer to help you with your set design. It only enhances your business. It's not going to hinder your business.
Yep.
And it's usually, maybe your designer could do it by a package deal or they're by the hour. And I just wanted to say how fun it was for me to work with you.
Thank you.
And it was my first time, but it came out so great. And Wendy is very passionate about her business, and that was exciting for me and very helpful and inspiring for me.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, and everything turned out great.
And I can tell you guys that one of the mistakes that David and I made before we contacted Katrina was trying to do this by ourselves. You can spend hours and hours and hours saving things in favorites on all the design websites and not really actually pulling the trigger on anything. Mm-hmm. And you get a little muffled in your thoughts because one idea becomes, oh, I think I like this, but now, you know, maybe your husband or your kids like this or your friend likes this, and it gets very scattered and you're not making headway. If that's just not your thing and it just would help you move to the next level a little quicker, we should have got a hold of Katrina a lot earlier because it would have saved us a lot more time. Once we had a plan, it just came together. Mm-hmm. And it didn't take that, you know, maybe 6 to 8 weeks or something that we pulled the whole thing together. It was not that long. And this is where you're at, totally accentuates and boosts up the production quality that, again, you and your business deserve. So where can people find you?
I am on Houzz. You can find me by my name, Katrina Atwood. And then also on Facebook, you can find me at K Atwood Design.
Cool. Yeah. That is awesome. Thank you, Katrina. Thank you for being here with us. And thank you all for watching, and thank you for hanging out with us. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. We'd love to get back to you guys, or share something that you've learned when you've been creating your YouTube studios or live stream backgrounds. We'd love to hear from you as well. So thank you again, everyone. We'll see you in the next episode.